Hi and welcome everybody, it's Jack from Ontario Motorsport here with another commentary video about Gran Turismo Sport. This time it'll be Daily Race B, which is Group 3 cars at the Red Bull Ring. As you see, I have SM8484 saying good to see you again, as he is on my friends list, so I just want to give him a shout out. I believe he became a friend with me because of my YouTube videos. I could be mistaken, so I apologize for that. But it gave me a great positive feeling going into this race to see someone that I knew in the same lobby. I just want to mention as well that I recorded this video in two separate parts, so the second race I actually recorded 4 or 5 days ago because I originally did record the two parts together, but the first part somehow got corrupted and it just wasn't there when I went to go upload it the next day. So this is me re-recording it a few days later, so I might mention a few things in the second part that I didn't actually mention here in the first part. So if I do, just ignore that. I'm referring to my original recording. But as you see, I did get a really good qualifying position going into this race. Second place, because of the fact I got a decent qualifying time for what my rank is. Just want to give another shout out now, this time to Racer294, excuse me. He made this Ronaldo Racing livery you see here, that beautiful green livery on the GTR that I have. Fantastic job I think he did, and I couldn't wait to use it, so I just want to give a shout out to him. It's one of his many great liveries he has made. Ronaldo Racing, I feel like David Perel should give me a lot of confidence going in here. So my pace was, or my qualifying time I believe was about half a second off of Junior Flyver here. So I did have hope that there was a chance that maybe I could keep up with them. You never know, because obviously your qualifying time might be significantly faster than your race pace, which I was hoping that was going to be the case with Junior Flyver, but I quickly found out that was actually really the case with me. As you see me make a mistake already, which it is the first lap, first corner. That's usually the time we make slight mistakes. I braked a little earlier than I needed to there. I do get this corner absolutely right, and actually Junior Flyver gets it a little bit wrong, but I hesitate way too long on the gas for whatever reason, and I ruin what was a perfect apex and a perfect braking zone. As you can see then, the American behind me, MTG Racing or something like that, is putting the pressure on me right away. Going into this corner, I get a little bit too far to the left and hesitate on the gas, which allows him to get on the right side of me going into these two left-handers, which I do forget the name of at this moment. But it's not exactly the best place to go side by side because there isn't much grip on the outside, and we actually make slight contact here. We both kind of just bumped into each other. No one's fault. Just a slight racing incident, as somehow my sportsmanship rating went up there. I actually think I got a clean race bonus for this race, if I am not mistaken. I'll have to check that out. But at this point, I have already given up on trying to get first place. I know that second place is as best as I can get unless Junior Flyver makes a mistake, and I make a slight mistake there. Go a little late on the brakes, which makes, once again, that MT guy, the American, right on my tail. He's doing a great job of keeping the pressure up and making me, actually, he might be one of the reasons I'm making these mistakes. I'm feeling the pressure. I get the braking a little bit wrong there as I go too early, and I overcompensate by cutting the corner, and somehow the guy behind me bumps into me. I'm not sure if that was because the guy behind him bumped me, but that was once again another racing incident. More or less my fault there for coming across the track, to be honest. Sportsmanship rating down, well deserved, that's for sure. I brake slightly early here, as you can see. They get caught up pretty easily, and once again MTG's gonna be right behind me going into this corner, this really tough downhill corner here. As you see, Junior Flyver's already got 2 seconds on us as well, so he really is gonna, it's really his race to win at this point. Again with the hesitation on the gas, but this time it catches MT out and he bumps into the back of me instead. So I can already tell I'm very hesitant on the gas. It's something I have to work on coming out of that corner. This corner, you don't want to get on the gas too early, as you see me get a little bit too heavy-footed and I get a little loose. I actually got on the gas at sort of the right time, but I just kind of slammed on it. I get that line perfect, and I actually have built a second gap, a full over 1 second gap, sorry, on the guy behind me because of the slight mistake he made by bumping into me. He might have made another mistake while he was behind me, I'm not sure. there, I make a slight mistake and hesitate, or no, I actually hit the top of the gear a little bit. Excuse me, which made me a mistake, and now the guy is right behind me, and I brake really early, actually, to be fair. He slams into the back of me, but I really did brake really early there. That was horrible by me. At that time, I was like, how did you run into the back of me? I remember thinking that, but looking back on it now and looking at this video, 100% my fault. Again, braking too early. Now, speaking of the Rinaldi Racing livery, watching David Perel's videos, his real-life racing commentary videos, has taught me a lot about defensive driving, to be honest. So I just want to thank him, as I've learned so much from him alone, and I really do like the fact that I can learn real-life driving, or real-life race car driver driving a real-life car. I like how I can apply that to a game. As you see here, I'm going to have to be defensive again, because I do hesitate, and the guy's on the right. But what I do here is just make sure I don't give him any room to get the apex. Just stay as tight as I can. He's forced on the outside, which is way too loose. He shouldn't have been going there. He gets all the way loose and almost loses control. Sorry, I had to clear my throat a bit there, but he loses control, and he's off the track, and it looks like this race is over. But actually, he somehow managed to not even lose that much time. I swear he was going to lose a lot of time, so when I hesitate through this corner, look at that. He's right on the back of me again. This guy's doing, once again, a fantastic job of keeping up the pressure. He just can't quite get past me because of my slight defensive driving and the fact that this track is really hard to overtake on. See, I'm trying to break the toe here so that he can't gain on me through the draft. Trying to take a fairly early apex, once again, that way he can't go for a move going into that corner, even though he wouldn't have been able to. It wasn't close enough. Coming up this hill here, I believe... Is it here? Oh no, I believe this is the last opportunity this guy really has coming through these next sequence of corners to go for it. See, once again, taking a slightly earlier apex, making it very hard for him to dive in there. And the way I was apexing, I don't even know if that was really that early that time, to be honest, but it's just the way it ended up that I blocked him. But other than that, a lot of the corners that do slightly early apexes. But as you see, he goes for a dive home absolutely out of nowhere. I was once again going for those early apexes, but I really didn't expect him to be there. He was way farther, and him bumping into me made it so that his race was over. Well, not his race, but his chance of getting second place is over. It's pretty much all mine now, as I bet he did get a penalty. I can't honestly recollect, but as this clip ends here, we're getting down to the final lap. He actually managed to gain a little bit of time back on me after serving what I think was a penalty, because I do remember making a pretty bad mistake in the last lap, and I actually slightly caught up to the guy in first because he had to serve a penalty during the last lap. But it wasn't enough, and I'll come at home in second. Very clean race in the end. The defensive driving, I wish I was better at describing it, but that's why I'm doing these videos, so I can get practice and get better at commentary overall. But just want to thank David Perel again. I swear I would not have been able to done that, and I wouldn't have had the confidence without those videos that I've watched. But the second race that's coming up was definitely not as clean as this one. I basically went from a perfectly clean race to a race that was absolute hell. Chaos everywhere, people going for moves that they shouldn't have. People were just too close together. But I just want to check out this livery one more time that Racer 294 made. Got the angle, showing me in second place. Brought that livery home to the podium. It's beautiful. I love the colors. Great job again. And as we move on to the second of two races, or the two races I'm showing you here, this race was a lot more chaotic. It was one of the craziest races I've honestly ever been in this game, if not the craziest, because of all the bumping and banging that was going on in front of me, behind me, and all around me. It basically made for a crazy race, like I was saying. But one of the reasons I really do feel like it's like that is because of the fact that the track makes it so it's really hard to pass, and there's only 5 laps. This track doesn't have many very easy overtaking spots. There's a few of them, like going into this corner and going into the following hairpin there. Or is that even a hairpin? But anyways, corner 3. But people are just impatient in general, obviously, because of the 5 laps. But as you see, or coming up here, I kind of predicted the fact that going into turn 3, there's no way this was an incident. This is a disaster waiting to happen. All these people bunched together. As you see, up ahead, one person gets pushed off, another person goes off to the right, another person off to the right, so 2 off in the grass. I move up to 10th already, and I am pretty happy. I should be keeping my head down and keeping my head forward, but I actually end up, I think, getting a little too excited, and the fact that I'm already up in 10th, I see as an opportunity to gain even more position, so I start to be on the edge a little bit more than I really should have been. And at some points, I do pay for it. But going into this corner, the car ahead of me does get a little wide, which allows me to get a little bit closer, but I'm a little hesitant on the gas. But the Lamborghini's spinning out ahead of us, and for some reason, I decide to just keep on the gas, and I run into the back of them. I easily could have made a better decision and predicted the fact they would have ran into him and gone to the right, but I just wasn't thinking fast enough there, as about 12,000 cars go through there. I lose what could have been actually 8th place if I pass both those cars. It's now 14th. As everyone's so close together, and that's the other thing I like about this track, though, is the fact that if everyone is around the same pace, because the track is so short, the racing ends up being so short too, and there's not a lot of technical sections, so everyone is allowed to stay pretty close together as a result. A little bit too close together is the problem, though. But it is quite entertaining. As you see, the American there up ahead did get a penalty, so I'm just waiting for him to serve that penalty, and I'll get 13th place, obviously, right away, as a GTR ahead goes flying into the corner and taking out someone. I believe it was the American in the Ford GT, ending his race and his own at the same time, as I gain about 3 or 4 spots again. Back up to 11th place, just like that. 10th place ahead of me. A person ahead of us actually has a penalty, so at this point I might get 10th, but another guy goes wide and he slides into the guy ahead of me. I lift off the gas. There was nowhere for me to go to keep on the gas there, unfortunately, but I do get past this guy fairly easily, as he just gets a little bit too wide on the corner there. Like I was saying earlier, there's not much grip there, so you're going to slide around and or just not have a lot of power coming out. But once again, 10th place is mine, as I get a little loose, though, and I still remain on the gas for some reason, but I managed to save it, not knock out the other guy. I managed to time that perfectly. But trying to overcompensate here, I brake too late, and me and this guy both go off, and once again, trying not to block everybody. There's about 2 or 3 cars, 3 cars that go flying through as I go wide again in the next corner. Seeing once again that everyone's so close together that one mistake and we're going to lose 4 or 5 positions. It's quite funny, actually. Another guy goes wide. He had a penalty and he decides, you know what, I'm going to put myself wide too. And the guy who took out everyone else earlier is still ahead of me somehow, and he squeezes me a little bit, and I kind of knew that was him, so I squished him just to give him a little shot back, which was almost a bad idea. Almost pit maneuver myself, and he goes for a dive bomb, but I knew that was going to happen, so I gave him the space. And he honestly just pulls off a fantastic move. There was a bit of side contact, but that time he did not take anyone out. Absolutely perfect pass, and a clean one too, so good on you. Buddy, you don't know me, bitch. But he then takes out the Argentine ahead of me immediately in the following corner. Wow, that is fantastic racing. And I'm hoping for Alex to make a mistake up here, but then another car makes a mistake, which allows me to get ahead of him, while Alex makes a mistake and tries to sideswipe me there, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to do, because I do remember this guy being aggressive overall. I did recognize his name. I try to make note of those people. As you will see proof of him being aggressive in the very next corner after this one, as I go a little wide and he gains right back on me, but he decides to go to the dive bomb of all dive bombs, clearly cutting the track, knocking me sideways. That actually made me flinch a little bit, kind of funny enough. But obviously he's getting a penalty for that one. Half a second penalty, so knowing that obviously you serve the penalties at the top of the hill after turn 3, so because of that, it makes it so you do lose a lot of time compared to other spots you might serve penalties on other tracks. But Yeah, so I don't have to try too hard to gain back that 11th spot. I should just be able to get it there. Should be in the key word, though, as he clips this apex too hard, gets sideways. I try to go on the left side, but he just absolutely blocks me. I'm not sure if that's on purpose. I kind of suspect it is, but that pretty much ended my race. As you can see, for some reason the game thought that was my fault. I got a 2-second penalty. Obviously, I could have been more patient and just seen what happened, but honestly, I swear he was not going to slide sideways. He looked under control to me. Then I don't see this guy, and I pit maneuver myself, which is entirely my fault. I don't blame the guy who hit me there. I just didn't see him. My own mistake. But that was the end of the race, essentially, as I'm all the way back down to 14th as after I have served the penalty. Sorry. Me and this Canadian, speaking of sorry, are now battling for second last place, which used to be there. I think there were 16 people who started this lobby, but he does get a fantastic pass, absolutely clean. I don't fight it too hard either because my sportsmanship rating obviously is freaking absolutely destroyed. But I do want to go for a move as he kind of just leaves the outside here, which allows me to do my own racing line. But I just hesitate way too much on the gas, but then try to overcompensate at the same time by slamming on the gas, and it makes me go a little sideways, get some oversteer, and that was pretty much it. Excuse me, as far as me having a chance to go for the second last spot, as he is now a second ahead of me. I was just hoping for a mistake, but he drives pretty perfectly, and I don't drive too aggressively, just to bring it home in 15th, but that's not the end of my mistakes here. You'll see coming up. For one, I go a little bit too heavy, or a little bit too late on the brakes, which makes it so I just don't have much gas coming to the next sequence. But then I get snap oversteer, put myself in the grass. Somehow I don't hit that wall. I stay on the gas, manage to fix it, and I still come home and finish the race with 12 seconds to spare. That's all I wanted in the end. Just wanted to show you guys this quick disaster video here, and the first one, of course, was pretty great racing, just not as interesting. But well, maybe it is interesting. Maybe you like my defensive driving, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I do want to continue making these videos, like I always say. Of course, feel free to suggest anything and everything to me when it comes to racing, even to commentary, as I'm open to criticism. I want to thank you guys, though, again. And I hope everyone here has a great day.